Hey everybody, this is Daniel Sobrano and this is Shawn Cox. And today we're going to show you the ancient art of shifting. And it's very important to learn how to do this in your footwork when you're fighting. So stay tuned and learn something that I guarantee you it'll help your fighting and your striking skill immensely. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so shifting. Basically what shifting is going from one lead position to the other lead position as you strike. Okay? Now it's very important as far as when you're fighting, especially the thing about whether you're a boxer, whether you're a Muay Thai fighter, whether you're a wrestler, jiu-jitsu, any kind of grappling art, any kind of basic fighting art, they all have the exact same weakness. They all train for the single opponent and not the multiple, okay? Now, when you're a boxer, you tend to fight in one lead, left-hand lead or right-hand lead position, and you pivot or you keep on moving in that position because that's where you're comfortable and that's how you've been taught to fight. But I say that's wrong, especially when you fight in the street. It doesn't work very well, and it can be a hindrance when you're fighting multiple opponents, okay? And even when you fight a single opponent and he's a little bit faster or better than you. So this will help you in going a long way to make you a better fighter and to be able to compensate for those lack of skills or strength that you would have that the other opponent would have, okay? So we're going to go over a few things to help you, to adjust you to this type of fighting and this type of footwork. Alright guys, so what I'm going to show you right now as far as shifting is concerned is to begin with, you want to be able to shift your hips in a horizontal plane, okay? Now, when you shift, what you're doing is you're shifting the majority of the weight of your upper body to one leg and you shift it to the other leg. So that's why the movement in a horizontal plane of motion from the hips is very important, okay? Now when you're shifting, it's going in this position, so you're not doing this, hopping up and down. You're moving side to side like you're gliding from one position to the other. So you can just stand here in front of a mirror and shift your weight back and forth from one leg to the other, okay? That's shifting. Now you don't have to shift all your weight because you're going to fall down. So about 70% of your weight shifts to one leg or the other, okay? When you get comfortable doing this in a dynamic or a static fashion, then you step, you see, you shift, and you step and shift, you step and shift, you step back, you shift, you step forward, and you stay shifted, okay? And what you're doing is you're shifting your weight to make your strike be stronger when you're fighting. And what happens, guys, is as you start to learn how to do this, you end up smothering your opponent. And every time he moves, you can catch him. If he moves here, you can catch him, you can catch him, you can catch him. All it is learning how to shift from one position to the other. Now, if I was fighting a typical one guard position, every time you move, if he goes over here, I'd have to pivot. All right. That takes too much energy, just too much time. And even if I did, my strong hand would be in the back and my weak hand would be in the front, as boxers always say to do. And to me, I don't like that. Right now, this is my strong hand, my weak hand, right? But if I shift, now my front hand has just become my power hand and my rear hand has just become so-called weak hand. But what I'm doing is shifting, and now both hands, depending on how I move, can become just as strong and powerful. So I have no weak or strong side. They're both that way. They're both strong, period. And it just depends on which way I'm going to follow the opponent and attack him is the way that dictates where my power hand is going to be in that moment. So practice doing that side to side, step to step, and shifting your weight and getting comfortable moving side to side. And you're going to see how much of a better fighter you're going to be and be able to be more elusive and be able to be there and in position that the guy would move against you. Okay? So try that out and practice this, and I guarantee you, you're going to have better footwork and more power in your strikes.
All right. One thing I wanted to add was a lot of places that train martial arts, doesn't matter what, A lot of them have you stick with whatever stance you are and fight with that, whether it's, you know, regular or southpaw. They want you to stick with that through and through. Occasionally, they'll have you do a switch, something like that. I highly recommend getting comfortable fighting from both sides. You might not feel as comfortable, but that's, you know, what's going to happen. You have to break through that, because in a street fight, it's not orchestrated. It's not, you know, 3, 2, 1, go. You have opponents coming at you. You have things coming at you. You're not going to be able to set yourself here. You want to be able to move from either side and strike comfortably from either side. If you find yourself wanting to constantly set yourself back to that position, you're limiting one
position, one fight position.
Yeah, you're limiting yourself to one fight position, one angle of attack. If you can fight from both sides, the other person's going to have a hard time reading you, and it also keeps you a lot more fluid too when you're striking. As long as, you know, if you're moving forward in this position, which Daniel will show us now.
All right. So basically, guys, another thing too is what Shawn was saying, and to add to that is, we want to be able to fight and hit and strike as you move. You know, a real fight is dynamic in nature, and like Shawn was saying, you can't get used to fighting in one direction, because, you know, they're not going to attack you. Wait a minute, everybody, get to my left hand side, because that's my power side. That's the only way I can hit you. As soon as you come to the right hand side, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I got to pivot and go this way and still stay this way. It takes too long, and it's very dangerous, and it limits you and it makes you hesitate when you fight, because all of a sudden you don't have confidence when you switch, and all of a sudden your punches become weak because you had to change on the fly and you weren't used to doing that, and all of a sudden you start having this dialogue in your brain like, oh, I don't like this.
Mental block.
Yeah, and what happens is, now, anytime you have a multiple opponent fight in your mind is, well, those guys, it's more dangerous for you, because now you have an extra opponent that you got to deal with, and that's yourself. Okay, so freeing yourself by being able to move in whatever position and use whatever punch you can in a powerful way, it'll help you get a better fighter, be a more dangerous fighter, and be a fighter that'll be able to walk away from a situation like that, whether it's single or multiple opponent. So what Shawn and I were talking about is very important for you to understand and to start practicing and trying when you're fighting, and then when you're practicing, you know, with your friends in the ring or in the dojo. All right, guys. Now, the reason why we're showing you the shift is, first of all, they don't do it anymore in boxing. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because coaches don't know it, or they don't teach it, and they've never been taught it. And so those that knew it have passed on, and they've not passed on the information to the newer coaches. And a lot of times the newer guys, they think they know better, but they don't. Okay, this stuff works great, and it's so for me teaching it to my students and everything. It works good for in a street situation, because that's how you're going to be moving anyways. Okay, there's no ring out there; it's whatever you get, and the ground is going to be a little different than the ring. So this works really well when you're fighting like that, especially when there's more guys coming at you after you start off with one guy, and the next thing you know, 2 or 3 guys come at you because you're kicking the guy's butt. And all of a sudden, there's his buddies, and they're going to come fight with you. So this helps you to be able to deal with that, okay? Now, the old fighters, like one of the classic example is Bob Fitzsimmons. He always shifted. He was a master at shifting. As a matter of fact, he won his championship, heavyweight championship title by the shift. They call it the killer shift. And he knocked out the champion, who outweighed him by about 40, 50 pounds. He was a bigger man, yet he was able to take him out and beat him off of this classic shift that he did, all right? So shifting is very important, and it was in those days, and it still is if you learn how to do it. I've trained a lot of guys how to shift, and they all tell me that the guys that they fought had a hard time dealing with their shifting, because they couldn't handle it, because they didn't know how to. They had to keep on moving. Every time they moved, they shifted to the other position, and every single punch they threw was hard off of the shift. So again, once you practice learning how to shift and you start adding your strikes to it, you're going to become a very powerful and dangerous fighter once you understand the principles of this movement pattern, okay? And as you do it and get comfortable with it, I guarantee you that you're going to be so powerful, the guys are going to want to spar with you, because it's like, man, this guy is like, he's right on you all the time. It feels. Well, I had one guy that told me that I felt like I was drowning him, because I was always right there hitting him every time he moved. All right, so learn this, and I guarantee you it's going to be a great asset in your toolbox of striking skills. All right, guys, this is the end of the video, and hope this information was, good for you, and it helps you to understand how to basically move in a certain set patterns, with your feet. Again, this was a classic old school fighter's way of fighting, and it's been done away with from years and years. It's been forgotten, but I'm bringing it back, and I wanted you guys to understand how to do it and apply it when you're fighting. Later on, we're going to show you other videos down the line on how to do drills to make it even better for yourself. But right now, I wanted to just show you the basics of how to do this. And again, it's going to make you a better fighter and a dangerous fighter if you've practiced using this skill. Okay? So if you have any comments or questions, just send them to me via the YouTube channel. Just give me the comment. I'll answer you. And like I said, later we're going to give you another video or two of more in-depth information on how to do the shift. All right? So this is Daniel Sobrano and Shawn Cox saying, don't just hit them, punch a hole through them. Take care, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.